This is the Extra 10% podcast, helping you get paid tomorrow for what you do today. Invite John Holowaty and Mark Hudson to join you at the breakfast table, ride with you to work, or just randomly stumble across them in the afternoon. Let's get the extra 10% out of your day.
How's it going, John?
Oh, what you don't break the baby equipment.
This is not the baby equipment. Like I said, this is what I get massages in. I can't bother picking it up. It's too heavy. Basically, it's for little Phoenix. He can sit in it, and then he can like stand up in it. So obviously he's learning now to like not walk around and stand up yet. And he's definitely not driving a car or anything yet. But we can sit him in it, and he can like, I guess, learn to stand up and stuff, and he doesn't fall over. So yeah, keep that in the podcast. A little.
What is it? What's the actual name of it?
I don't have a clue. A bouncer, maybe. It's just like
baby bouncer.
Yeah, it bounces up and down. You can't see it. Maybe. Oh yeah, we'll do that. Look,
there you go. Yeah, it looks cool.
Sit in it, bounces around. You can play with these little toys and stuff like that. Put a bit of music on, and he's good to go, lad.
Yeah, so, that's it. Is that like the cheapest childcare you can get?
Yeah. You just put him in a. I think there's a better one that has wheels on the bottom of this. So as he's bouncing around, he can actually bumble about across the banging into stuff.
Pinball.
Yeah, but I haven't.
Don't upgrade him to that one. Wait, see if he's well behaved. Christmas is coming. Santa's always watching.
Which I'm pretty excited for. In that, like, yeah, I'm excited for Christmases. Obviously, this coming year and maybe even the year after is pretty irrelevant because I barely know what's going on, let alone a 9-month-old will. But in the years to come, I am very excited for that whole Christmas thing because I feel like as an adult, you sort of, anyway, myself is Christmas isn't like it used to be when you were a kid. I remember like being so excited, and then you go through like your late teenage years where you just go out and get leathered on like Christmas Eve and whatever, and then you get into like your mid to late 20s, and it's just like, because like obviously if you don't have kids or anything, it's just like it's just like a Sunday roast, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's like
anyone listening to this right now, you've not tuned in December. This is why this year. This is why this year is so fucking weird because we're talking about Christmas in July. No one knows what the fuck's going on. The world is like. I just saw last night that Kanye's going for president, which you'll probably get. I mean, that be like that? Could this be the weirdest year in the history of humanity? And I was thinking I saw a few things about it last night. I had a meeting last night. I did a call. Amazing, like still amazing. We had like 600 people on a call last night, and then I went and had a business meeting straight afterwards around about 10 p.m. Which again, when you're in the zone, you don't go and have a business meeting at 10 p.m. on a Friday night. But I did. I went there. I didn't drink alcohol. I was like sparkling water. I wanted to be totally present. And I've got some good tips on that as well, by the way, because there was a little devil going, have a beer. You've earned it. But that's another sort of thing. But I remember someone comment. I saw like Kanye. Someone posted like, if Kanye can go for president, then we can do anything. And I thought, well, first of all, that's a bit derogatory towards Kanye because he is probably one of the most successful business people on the planet, right? Yeah. So that's like saying, well, if that idiot can do it, then anyone can do it. Like, he is the total opposite of an idiot. Like, he's a genius. Yeah. So, and then I thought, well, Hitler got into fucking president, right? If Hitler could get in, whose manifesto was just like horrific, then you know what anybody can like getting to president isn't a big like it shouldn't be seen as like this monumental thing, in my opinion. It's like anyone can, if you really want to go for it, then go for it. If you know, I just thought it was crazy that people would look at Kanye and go, well, if he can think that he can go for president, then anybody can go for anything. And if Donald Trump hasn't proved that, then you know. Yeah,
true enough, actually. But surely people should look at everybody and go, if they can do it, then I can do it. Like, surely that should be the case. Like, not just because they're being derogatory, that, oh, if that idiot can do it, I can do it. It's like, no, if that human can do it, then I can do it. And I remember watching an interview with Elon Musk, and he was like, you can decide to be extraordinary. Like, you can decide, like, on a given day, you know, when it doesn't even have to be when you're just starting out as like an adult or anything, but you can choose to be an extraordinary person and say, I'm going to put in the extraordinary work. I'm going to meet more people, do more than everything. And that's what he just said that he decided to do. He was like, I'm going to be extraordinary. I'm going to put in the work and stuff. But here's the other thing is like, even if you decide you want to be president, right? And you think, yeah, if Donald Trump can do it, if Kanye can do it, whatever, and you go for it. The fact of the matter is, it's not in the deciding that like gets you there. It's in the putting in the work. So it's like, all right, Kanye West can, and same with Donald Trump. Donald Trump woke up one day, I don't know, let's say 10 years ago, and was like, do you know what? I might go for president. And that is irrelevant. What's relevant is then the fact that he was like, no, okay, well, what have I got to do? Who have I got to call? He actually then took action. He didn't just say it. Think about how many people, even famous people, that have said, I want to be president. Think of like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He became the governor of California, like essentially the mayor of California, right?
The mayor? You went all American.
Yeah. But like, why? Why does he qualify, you know, over, let's say, some lawyers, some like, you know, it's like, he just decided that he was going to do it and then put the action in. And I think that's where a lot of people confuse how Donald Trump's got into power, is that he didn't just sit in bed and think about it. He said it. All right, obviously he's a bit crazy. Like he is a bit of a nut job in some elements. But like in other elements, especially when it comes to drive and motivation, there is not many people on the planet that have more drive and motivation than Donald Trump or Kanye West. He's another version of this, right? We know, most people probably know his story about, you know, not really doing anything with Nike and losing that deal and it not like really amounting into anything, coming over to Adidas and basically going boom and like it absolutely blowing up. And like he's had his fair share of setbacks. I don't know if a lot of people know this, and I don't know even if you know this, John, but it's a really interesting. I was watching a documentary about it. Is Kanye West's like right-hand man, who was like his fashion like guru, his like best mate, who basically ran all the sort of Yeezy style companies when they were first like getting massive. He is now the like head of the design house at Louis Vuitton. And like, that was the job that Kanye West wanted. So there was an interview I watched with him with Zane Lowe, I think. And he was like explaining how gutted he was that like, hey, I'm the Louis Vuitton Don. Like people say that to me all the time. And my understudy has ended up taking my job that I've been like essentially wanting. And so it's like that, this is like another podcast I won't go into, but like problems are not things that are reserved for the poor. Like rich people have goals and ambitions and they don't achieve them as well. Like that does happen. And you know, you can see in his face how gutted he is about the fact he's not the head of the design house at Louis Vuitton. Anyway, by a complete separate thing. What I'm trying to say here is that people say all the time, oh, bloody hell, if that person can do it, I can do it. But what they miss is that person, that idiot, if they're using that as the derogatory analogy, it hasn't just decided they want it. They've then also put in the work to achieve it. They've stayed up late on a Tuesday night when everyone else is doing nothing. They've stayed late on a Friday. Like, and it's a bit weird because I don't always like to just talk about myself, but last night I was in the office till after 7:30, like in the evening. That's not even late. And I was like, oh, it's like 7:30. I should probably go home. Like, whereas like most people at like 5 to 5 or even way before then are like counting down the minutes until it hits 5 o'clock so they can go. So it's a Friday. And it's like, that just means that you found the wrong thing that you're pursuing.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, I've had a bit of a breakthrough this week on this whole hard work term. It shouldn't be hard work, right? It shouldn't. And I can't remember what it was, but it was something about the law of attraction and finding that thing that you love what you do. And when you do that, it isn't hard work at all. There's a difference between hard work and focus. Because you were so focused yesterday doing what you were doing that the time and the day was totally irrelevant. You were in your zone of genius. You were just focused on, this is what I've got to do. This is what I want to do. This is why I'm doing it. And it's like, you've been really, so it does, if someone had just stopped you and paused time and went, Mark, can I just ask you, are you working hard right now? You go, well, not really, because it's just flowing out of me. It doesn't feel like hard work. Feel like something that feels like hard work is a struggle. It's like, for fuck's sake, I've got to do. It's usually when you're doing something you don't want to do. That is hard work. And I'm sure we can all think back to like jobs that we've done. I'll never forget walking out of work experience when I was at school. I was the only kid to get sacked from work experience because I walked out of that. It was basically a big builder's yard, and they had me stacking bricks from one place to the other for no other reason that they didn't have anything else for me to do. So they went, honestly, I felt like I'd been taken back to Egyptian times, building a pyramid of bricks, just slavery. Like, can you move those bricks from that? Honestly, no word of a lie. It was like, can you move those bricks from that fence to that fence over there? And I was like, yeah, of course I will. No worries. What's the reason though? Well, is it to like make room for? So is there like some other stuff going there? No, nothing's going there. All right. Well, what are we doing it for? Well, we've nothing else to give you. Like, there's no work to give you. So forget. You just need to just move them. Well, isn't there a forklift truck that can do that in like 1 minute? Yeah, I know there is. We can get Barry to come round and do it anytime. But we can't. We're not going to do that because we need you to do it. All right. Well, why? What's the point? Well, there is no point. It's just to give you something to do. All right, go on, crack on. No gloves either. They didn't give me any gloves. So my hands started cutting up. I was moving these bricks, and I just said to myself, this is ridiculous. Looked at the clock, and I just stormed out. I actually walked out on work experience, and I went in the next day, and I got bollocked at a staff meeting. That wasn't even staff. Like staff meeting, and they were like, the inspectors are coming in today from head office, and she just like turned on me, this woman. She went, and I want to know why you were seen walking out of work at 2:30 in the afternoon when you know you're not allowed to leave until 5 p.m. And I went, well, you just made me stack bricks all day for nothing. That's not what I'm here for. And it was just ridiculous. So I think that was like early signs that I was never going to go against, going to follow the flow really of doing stupid things for no reason. But what I wanted to just touch on there was like the people that are crazy enough, not even crazy enough, but the people that think they can always do. And just going back to the thing that I said at the beginning, like and I'm not going to go into like the Nazi thing or anything like that, but when I studied history at school, I was almost obsessed by like, how did something so evil get voted into power? Now, obviously Hitler took over eventually, like changed laws to make it so no one could outvote him, but he tried to take the government in Germany by pure force, but he couldn't. Like, they did like this Munich Putsch and all this kind of stuff. And then what he did is he manipulated his way into close enough to power that when he got there, certain things fell into his favor that allowed him to get that power. And then he changed the laws so then nobody could outvote him, right? I mean, those of you guys listen to this that are into your history, you may know all that stuff. And what I kind of remember is listening to, I think it was Jim Rohn, or reading a book on influence or something, and they say people have got the power of influence. Some people use it for good. Like, I think it's Jim Rohn, and he says like, use these powers that you have for good. Use your power of influence for good, not evil. And obviously Hitler used it for evil, but Kanye, in his belief in what he's doing, he's using his power of influence for good, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know what his thing's gonna be, but in his mind, he'll be thinking, I'm doing this for the good of the people. And, you can see him getting in. I remember saying like, Trump will get in because it's that American way of, it's that celebrity culture. It's that, what's it called? Like real life TV, like lifestyle TV,
reality.
Yeah, pop culture. It's like everyone, Instagram. Trump took over when he beat Hillary Clinton because his social media game was streets ahead of hers. And obviously, when you've got the biggest influence on social media saying vote for my husband, and then you've got Elon Musk coming out supporting him, then Kanye West he's probably gonna get in.
Yeah, and this is the thing. It's like I remember I looked at on that kind of topic. I used to watch the same documentary over and over that was Lil Wayne creating the album, not the album, but the mixtape No Ceilings, like the first one. So it was like 2009 or something like that. It was like the year after the Carter 3 came out, where obviously like completely changed the hip hop game, selling 1 million records in a week and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, like it showed his work ethic, right? Even down to the point where he'd record a song, play it 1,000 times back to himself. Like he'd just have it over and over and over again. And then like he'd go in and he'd just change like one word in a sentence. And he would say the same word, but slightly lift it up at the end. And it like, he would spend all day just perfecting that one word. And it was just like amazing to see like an artist like craft his like thing. But in that, he's talking to the person creating the documentary. And he basically says, look, when people join Young Money, which is his record label, I don't teach them to be like a music star. I teach them to be a superstar, because when you're a superstar, you can do whatever the fuck you want. So if you really think about it, Beyonce isn't just a music artist. She is perfume. She's fashion. She's obviously inspiration as well, but she's a brand. And obviously you and I both know the famous line from the Jay-Z track where he's like, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman.
Just about to say that,
yeah. And it's the same principle as what Kanye West has done. It's like,
say it though, say the line, because the guys might not know it.
Oh right, yeah, like I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman, as in like I'm a business. I as a person, I'm a business, I'm a brand, I'm all this thing, right? So that's what you mean, right? That's what you're.
Yeah, that's the line, yeah.
So if you really think about this, about some of the biggest brands, and everything is a brand, and Gary Vaynerchuk actually talks about this a lot, is that your company is a media brand, not a whatever it is you produce. But here's a few key examples of this. Kanye West, I think, I don't quote me on this, but I think he's made more money from the sales of his shoes than he has from his music, which is outrageous to say. He's been in the music game for 15 years, and within like 3 years of these shoes just being like off the charts, he's made more money in it. Michael Jordan has made more money from the Jordan shoes than he did from playing basketball, which is insane because he was the highest paid basketball player of of time. When you look at Ronaldo's like breakdown, I think he earns like 100 something million a year, 125, 150 million a year. Like 80 million of that is from endorsements, and like 30 million or something is from like actual salary, and then the rest is from like other elements, like other businesses he runs. And so it's like the majority is from almost the things that are outside their skill. Now, the biggest one of all these is not a person, it's Apple. If you really think about this, Apple, we buy phones from a computer company.
Yeah.
It's mental. So like, if you really think about that, Apple is a computer company. They brought out one phone in 2007, and now we buy phones. We don't buy phones from Nokia, which were a phone company. We don't buy phones from BlackBerry, which were a phone company. We buy phones from a computer company. And it's got nothing to do. It's the fact that they've created a brand. Obviously they create a phenomenal product. Let's not lie. The iPhone was a phenomenal product. But what I'm trying to say is that the culture shifted. So we now have a president that isn't a lawyer, which all the rest of the presidents have been, Barack Obama's and so forth. These have all been lawyers and stuff. And politicians, we now have a president, well, not we because we're not American, but you get the point, that is a businessman. But it's about the brand of the person, not about the actual attributes. So it's not about like, and this is...
your background, your qualification.
Exactly.
I think in this world that we live in now, everyone's got the opportunity to have influence. So qualifications are irrelevant. There's a great
good point. Obviously, if you want to be a doctor or a dentist, fair enough. You've got to go get those qualifications. You can't just stroll up like me. What we talking about like a few podcasts back with my spatula instead of saying scalpel.
Totally. In that example, yeah. But there could be somebody that becomes not necessarily a doctor, but has the influence of health and nutrition and I don't know, that stuff from just going away, researching you know, if Kanye West, as an example, now started doing a health podcast, he would become a health influencer, even though he's.
Kevin Hart's a bit like that, right?
Yeah.
Kevin Hart's big onto his fitness. So's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. You know, these people are not. They've not got biology degrees or anything like that.
50 Cent with his vitamin water. It's like that. It's once you've built up your credibility in the marketplace, your influence, and then you add volume to it. I watched the interview with John Paul DeJour about, he owns Patron, the brand.
Right.
And they turned the tequila brand Patron into this. He became a billionaire from tequila and hair products. And he was homeless. It's a great podcast with Tim Ferriss. But it's all, and that's what he talks about. He says, create influence, create a brand, and then find a way to shift volume on a large scale. And that is why all these drinks companies partnered with rappers, because it was free advertising in the music videos, on the lyrics of the songs. You know, P. Diddy's brand, I think it was Ciroc, he took that over. And it's just like, it's almost like the saying I say sometimes, which is spend money where you make money where you spend money. It's like they were throwing parties anyway, so why not get paid to have parties? Why not get paid to promote what they're doing?
Why not own the bar that you're having a party?
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
And I like that. It's all about, it is just all about creating a brand. And if you really think about what an influencer marketer is now, so these people on Love Island and you know, people that partner with like fashion brands like Boohoo and stuff like that, if you really think about YouTubers and Instagrammers, 1 minute they're promoting one product, the next minute they're promoting another product, and people buy into all those products. It's not like that. Some people might look at it and go, oh, bloody hell, they're on, from 1 minute they're doing this to 1 minute they're doing that. But most people that are following those influencers go, yeah, I'll buy into this idea. And it's because they've created a brand first. And like, you don't, it's like, then you've just got to think that if you know that's the case, then that if you really think of all these examples, it's about creating a brand. Elon Musk is a brand now. So whatever company he decides to, I guess, invent next or come up with, he's always going to get funding and backing from investors because he's created a brand. And you create a brand by saying what you're going to do and executing on it. Because that's one thing, is people are so flaky these days. There are so many people, and you've obviously had it in your industry 1,000 times over, where they join the company, hit the ground running, they say they're going to take over the world with it. 5 minutes later, they're out the door and they're doing something else. And everyone looking at them goes, what, you're such a flake. Like nobody ever takes anybody seriously. And then they're like, why does no one ever take me any seriously? It's because you haven't got serious about anything. And so it's the same if you're wanting people to respect you, if you're wanting people to, it's just do what you say you're going to do, actually execute on it. And you always talk about this, is you only get paid for done. And that's the same as you only get respect for done. You don't get respect for the idea. You don't get the respect for, I'm going to create a company, I'm going to become president. No one gives you respect for that. They give you respect for going out and doing it. So Donald Trump, amongst his peers, loads of his mates would have been like, you're an idiot. Of course you're not going to become president. Good lad. It's just Donald being the same old like Muppet. 3 years down the line, holy shit, he's sat in the White House. They're like, I've got to give kudos where kudos is due. Like, you've become president, fair play. And they'll have cheersed him, you know, over a nice whiskey, I'm sure. And that's what you get respect for, which means that then you can go on and do other things. So if you like, it really hurts you if you don't do what you say you're going to do, because people lose respect for you and it makes it 10 times harder the next time around when you do get a good idea. And so that's why it's good to be an Elon Musk or a Beyonce or a Lil Wayne or a 50 Cent, is that you do what you say you're going to do and you follow it through to the end. And then, all right, it's going to be an up and down roller coaster getting to that end. But if you get to the end, you don't just get the prize of what that individual thing is. You also get the respect. And then it means you can go on to the next journey, the next idea with that respect, and people will follow it and join it and get excited about it.
I think as well, you lose respect for yourself. So I've been saying this recently about people, like when they say they're skeptical about something, they're not actually skeptical about you, your product, or your idea. Like when you're trying to convince or explain something, they're skeptical about themselves.
Right, if they can actually do it.
Because they've let themselves down in the past so many times, that are they going to do it again? So it's like, I've bought something like this before and I never used it. I've signed up to something like this before and I've never used it. So even though it sounds like a great idea, in their head, they're like, their little ticking voices going, nah, you've messed up before with this. You've messed up before.
Yeah, and I think what you've got to do in that situation, if you do that yourself, like if you do talk yourself out of it, is go, look, my past isn't my future. You see, like a good analogy, I can't remember who I heard it from. Might have been the Wolf of Wall Street, actually, I think, on one of his like training things he does on YouTube. It's like, he was like, look, when you're in a speedboat and you're driving along, and then you look behind you and you see like the wake coming out the back, like the white, like, you know, well, the wake, that's what it's called. Nobody in their right mind goes, oh, it's the wake here that's like making us move forward. It's like, no, that's got nothing to do with it. That stuff that's in the back over there, that's got nothing to do with where we're going. And it's like, that's what people do in their own lives. They look at the wake of their life, the mistakes they've made potentially, the people they've met, the things they've done wrong in their eyes, and they go, oh, that's determining my future. And it's like, but what the hell has that wake got to do where we're going on the speedboat? It's like the engine is what's is relevant. Your mind, you know, the skills you have, they're the things that like make it things move forward. So it's like, forget about the wake, forget about what's happened in the past. You can not change that. That is the one dead cert you cannot do, is go back and change the past. So you might as well focus on the engine of the boat, which is your knowledge, your contacts, the opportunities you create for yourself, the work you put in. That determines, you know, where the boat goes, if that makes sense.
Yeah, looking forward and just going where you said you were going to go, right?
Sure. So, yeah, that's a short and sweet podcast, but I think we've covered some pretty cool stuff there, which is just basically, don't just like, well, one, don't judge people that are saying they're going to do something, because they might surprise you and actually go and do it, like a Kanye West and a Donald Trump or a president. And number two is, you should look at every human on the planet and be like, hey, if that human can do that, then I can go do it, because they are a human at the end of the day. And then also, you find something that you actually give a shit about, because we all know that if Donald Trump is so passionate about being president, it doesn't matter what people say, he will go out of his way still to do it. Whereas if he wasn't that bothered about it, the first 5 people that said, no, you shouldn't even pursue this, he would have gone, yeah, you're probably right. It was a good idea, but I won't bother. But because he was so determined to do it, it was like, and I don't know if this is the case, but maybe he did, is he probably put like a tweet out like years before, right? Saying he was going to do it, which is a similar thing to we spoke about either last week or the week before. It's about burning your bridges. And it's like, if you put it out.
Burning your boats.
Yeah, burning your boats. Yeah, not your bridges. You want to keep bridges. But is when you burn your boats, when you basically go all in, you've got no choice now, because it's more embarrassing not to do it than it is to do it. And so you then, so it's kind of like Tony Robbins talks about this all the time. Is when you're in that high state of you want something, take action right there and then that locks you into it. And so in his case, I'm sure it was like a tweet or an email or a press release that he put out that he was going to be president. And now for his business, his brand, it's more embarrassing for him not to execute on that. And so then you tie yourself in, you think, yeah, fuck it, I've got to go do it.
Brilliant, mate. Wrapped up.
So yeah, see you guys next week.
The Extra 10% Podcast. Remember to like the John and Mark Facebook page on Facebook, or visit johnandmark.co.uk for exclusive updates and content. Why not share this podcast with a friend and help them get paid tomorrow for what they do today?